They came out on top, but if the Knicks want to continue to make the finals, they need some changes. Let's keep New York in the mix on this edition of The Nest. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Nest Star XP. My name is Robin, welcoming you back as we continue to rebuild NBA teams in their offseason. And we're finally at the end, the final episode of me rebuilding NBA teams, and we're ending off with possibly the reigning champion. The finals are still going on at the time that I'm recording this. They are up 3-1 though, and it's looking like they are going to win, and that is the New York Knicks. A team that a lot of people may be looking at and be thinking like, oh, they don't really need to make changes, maybe some small changes, but I think they need to make a significant change this offseason in order to continue to compete. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. But before we do, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, go and check out the TikTok and the Instagram for more short form content, as I am now finished off with the rebuilding the off-season teams, and now we're going to get into like what's actually going on in the off-season and going back to covering my New Orleans Pelicans and what they do this offseason. But the big question that I have with this Knicks team comes down to Mikal Bridges. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Mikal Bridges fan. I loved him when he was in Phoenix, loved him even more when he was in Brooklyn, and now that he's in New York, I do enjoy him, but I think that his contract is not going to be worth the production that he provides, specifically because he's an excellent defender, but his shooting, specifically his three-point shooting, can be inconsistent at times as of late. And I also think that since something that has come up in this past game 4 of the NBA Finals is the Knicks were at their best when they had two ball handlers with Jalen Brunson and Jose Alvarado running the offense. So having that secondary legit creator alongside Jalen Brunson is huge for it. Now, obviously, I'm not saying they need to start Jose Alvarado, but they need another guard, a legit guard, not another wing, who can handle the ball and at the very least be a secondary creator, or at least a second handler for this team. So I went and I traded Mikal Bridges for guys that I think could fill that role. And there's two options that I found. The first option I have, which I don't think is the best option, is a trade with Mikal Bridges for Jalen Suggs, Noah Penda, and a 2031 protected first round pick and a second round pick from the Knicks. Now, the reason, like I said, the reason why I went with this trade is it's another ball handler. He continues to bring the defensive intensity that you like from Mikal Bridges. Not nearly the same level of shooter as Mikal Bridges, but I do like Jalen Suggs. I like the idea of Jalen Suggs with this team. The issue is his contract is worse than Mikal Bridges, so I don't like the fit contract wise. And he's got a good few more years on his contract, so if you make this trade and then you regret it, you're kind of screwed. Plus, I don't know if the Magic really need a Mikal Bridges. I think they need a. I mean, they could use him. Don't get me wrong. I think he would be a fine fit, but I don't know if the Magic would agree to a trade like this. I think they'd be looking to just more so cut salary. So instead, I made a trade with the Portland Trailblazers for a player that I think would be a better fit and a more winning player with this team, and that is Jrue Holiday. And the trade is simple: Jrue Holiday and 2 second-round picks for Mikal Bridges. I don't think you could honestly probably do a Jrue Holiday for Mikal Bridges straight up. I don't think their value is that different because they both are on similar contracts. Mikal Bridges has a longer contract, but the Blazers aren't really super worried about their contract space right now. Regardless, if you can find a way to get Jrue Holiday on this next team, I think that's the perfect idea because he is a guard. He's played point guard, he's played shooting guard. He can be that primary or even secondary handler alongside Jalen Brunson. He's an even better defender than Mikal Bridges. He brings that defensive intensity. He's pretty much the same caliber of shooter as Mikal Bridges, if not better, because he can also handle off the dribble threes and things like that. And he can also be a secondary playmaker as well. So I really like Jrue Holiday with this team, and I think that's the move that the Knicks should go and make if they want to continue if they want to continue to make the finals for the coming years, because Jrue Holiday is the definition of a winning player. He's old, don't get me wrong, I get the age issue, like you're giving up Mikal Bridges for a significantly older Jrue Holiday, but Jrue Holiday only has one more year on his contract. He has 2 more years starting this offseason. So say this season he kind of falls off a cliff and his age starts to get to him, then you can trade him to another team who just needs an expiring deal. So it also works out in that way, and I think his value will still remain kind of the same because he's expiring as well. The other trade that I made, well, was a sign and trade, and it was simply to get off of Mitchell Robinson. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Mitchell Robinson. He is a New Orleanian, well, kind of a New Orleanian. He doesn't really consider himself a New Orleanian anymore, but he's from New Orleans. He's from my hometown, and we love him for that. But his contract is getting a little too much. And between all five stars making like 25 mil, you can't have another guy in Mitchell Robinson making 10 to 15 mil on top of that, or even 20 mil if that's what he's asking for. Plus, he's not healthy enough, nor is he playing enough realistically to be making that much money. So I made a simple sign and trade with the New Orleans Pelicans for Yves Missy. Now, I've seen a lot of my Pelicans friends and Pelicans fans and things like that, they've been talking about something like this where you give up Yves Missy and like Micah Peavy or Jordan Hawkins or something for Mitchell Robinson. And I don't hate that idea, but the issue I can see with the Knicks having it is like, okay, we love Mitchell, we love Mitch Rob. If we want to keep him because he's a big part of this core and he's a big part of this team, I completely get that and I completely agree. And I think that if you can find a way to keep him, you absolutely should. The issue is I don't know if contract wise you can because you're already pretty much at the second apron, if not far beyond it, before Mitchell Robinson. So I can see a world where the Knicks would give up a guy like Mitch Rob for Yves Missy, who can be that quality backup five for this team and kind of provide similar things to what Mitchell Robinson is providing. He's an excellent offensive rebounder, really good shot blocker, still very young, still very athletic though, and I think could be big with this team. Other than that, a couple other small things. Re-sign Landry Shamet to a minimum, obviously except Jose Alvarado's. I believe he has a player option or a team option, whichever. As long as he accepts it, you're good. And then I would also sign and trade. I can't pronounce his name. Dadier. Plus 2 second-round picks for Precious Achua to be that four off the bench. I think he's a perfect physical four to come off the bench with this team. And then if you don't trade pick 24 for Drew Holiday or for Jalen Suggs or whatever the case may be, I would select either Jaden Quintance or Koa Pete with that 24th overall pick, whoever's still available, just on a four or kind of that 3-4 forward type player that can be versatile and that's young and that can develop a little bit. You're not really expecting him to compete at a high level just yet, but I like the idea of having another young guy that you can build up a bit for the future. And other than that, that's all I got for this Knicks team. Like I said, just not a ton of changes, but pretty significant changes as well in order to continue to compete. And now the team looks something like this. So Jalen Brunson and Drew Holiday were on the backcourt positions with Josh Hart and OG at the 2 forward spots. Karl-Anthony Towns running the starting 5 spot. Jose Alvarado and Miles McBride off the bench in the 2 guard spots with Landry Shamet running kind of the wing position. You also have Precious Achua and then Yves Missy in the front court, and then also Jaden Quintance getting some run. You also have a couple other guys like Tyler Kolek. I believe you can also re-sign as well if he's not already. I think, if I remember correctly, he has some kind of option. So if he's not back off that option, then maybe re-signing him would be good as well. But regardless, that's more or less what the rotation is going to look like. And I'm very interested to see what people say to this because a lot of people may look at it and be like, well, if they, at this rate, they haven't won the championship yet, but they're up 3-1. They're probably going to win the championship. So if they do, a lot of people may be looking like, okay, just keep this team together. Maybe make some changes. Maybe make some small changes like with their guard play, like trade Landry Shamet for a more legit wing or something like that. Whatever the case may be, I can see them asking for just small changes and not major changes. But I do think that if you want to continue to compete, you need these significant changes in order to stay competitive. Otherwise, you're just going to fall flat. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. And once again, for one last time, I'm going to tell you, make sure you check out the Instagram and the TikTok for short form content and things like that as I continue to cover the NBA offseason and things like that. I don't know when this will be out. I haven't mapped it out just yet. It'll probably be like mid-July by the time this comes out. But once this comes out, I'm going to be doing just weekly videos from here on out. It won't be the 3 times a week that I am doing to get all of these rebuilds out, but it will be going back to once a week for the remainder of the summer, and then we'll talk further about what it's going to look like once August comes around and once September comes around and things like that. So stay tuned for that. But until then, y'all, I'll see you next time. Peace.